Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, I will show you how to crochet a curlicue rose. This rose is super easy and is made just by making a curlicue like this, coiling it up, and seaming it together. To make your curlicue rose, you'll need yarn, a crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a tapestry needle. I have here just some Lion Brand Baby's First yarn and a 6.5 millimeter K crochet hook. You can really use any yarn for this, and if you're unsure about the hook size, just check the yarn label for the recommendation. To begin, we'll put a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to chain 12. To make a chain, wrap yarn around hook and pull it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So this is our starting chain. And in the fourth chain from the hook, this one doesn't count, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to work 2 double crochet. To work a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert it into the chain, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. We'll work 1 more double crochet in that same chain, just like that. And in the next chain, we'll work 3 double crochet. Wanted to pause here for a moment. When we worked our first double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, it created this here. This counts as the first double crochet. That's why we only work 2 double crochet in that first chain. So in the next chain and every other chain after, we're going to work 3 double crochet in every chain. So 1, 2, and 3. Next chain, 1, 2, and 3. And like I said before, these curlicue roses are super easy to make, and you can use them for all kinds of things. Appliques and embellishments on hats and other garments. And I like to sometimes use different yarn on the same project, so you get a variety of different sized roses and different textured roses. They also look really neat if you use some variegated yarn. They add a little dimension to the rose. You can also add beads to your rose. You can use novelty yarn. You could use yarn with a little bit of sparkle or some sequin yarn that they have out now in the craft stores. So we're just continuing along here, working our double crochets, 3 in each chain. And let's stop for a moment. Our rose is already starting to coil up, and it really looks rose-like at this point. So we have just a few chains left. Two and 3. Next chain. 1, 2, and 3. Next chain, 1, 2, and 3. Now, I wanted to share with you this little tip for seaming your rose. Here we are, we're finished the curlicue portion. When you go to snip, give yourself a little bit of extra here. It's better to have too much than not enough, so you can seam your rose. So we're going to fasten off here, and we'll put our crochet hook aside. And next you'll want to wrap your rows. Now I wanted to say something here about seaming your rows. A couple of well-placed stitches work best for this rose. If you put too many stitches and overstitch it, it tends to flatten the rose out. If you don't put enough stitches, the rose kind of opens up and flops around. So let's take our tapestry needle, and I gave us a lot of extra here. You probably don't need this much, but better safe than sorry, I guess. So let's thread our needle just like that, and we're going to take this corner here. You don't want it to be pointing out, so you'll want to kind of sew it to the back here. So let's start by sewing that corner. Just take the end of it and just kind of work it into the back, just like that. So it's that point is hidden because you want a circular, soft-edged petaled rose here. Now we need to hold these together. So what I like to do is come up through the middle like that, bring it all the way through, and then go back down through the middle to start. Okay, and you want to just make sure you're checking the dimension and not flattening things out. So the middle is tacked down. Next you want to kind of hold these sides together. So I just like to take a few, like I said, a few well-placed stitches. Just kind of go around the sides here, just to hold everything in place. You're also going to be attaching this to something, most likely. So you don't, if you're attaching it to a garment or a hat or such, you're also going to be sewing it to your piece. So it's not going to be, it's also going to be attached to something, so it'll also give the security of being on something. If your rose is going to be freestanding, you'll want to make sure everything's really secure. So I'm coming around the edges here. Okay, and you just want to make sure everything seems pretty secure. This is a little floppy. So what I do is just check. There's no real rhyme and reason for how I seam this. Just want to get it nice and secure. Next, you'll want to flip it over. And so you have these two left. I like to get them as close to the middle as possible. So you want to bring this in like that, so they're nice and in the middle. And I like to just tie it like this. It's a nice secure knot. Like so. And our rose is very nice and secure. However, we didn't overdo it, so it still has that texture. But it's not, this is our other rose that has not been seamed. So you can see it looks a little tighter also. So let's get this one out of the way. I also wanted to share here. At this point, you can either tie it right onto something, even a gift or headband or something like that. You can also weave your ends in. If they get, sometimes your ends get a little splitty while you're working with it, depending on your yarn. Just give it a nice fresh cut if you need to do that. Just as a little side note. And the eye of this needle is fairly small. So if you're having trouble getting it through, just give it a nice twist with your hand and guide it through, just like that. Now you can weave the ends in here just like this, or like I said, tie them. You can also, you can use these tails to sew it to your piece. And if you're using this for something else that you don't want to sew it to, if it's not a garment, you can also use some fabric glue and just glue it right onto something. So that is our Curlicue Rose tutorial. Thanks for watching, and be sure to click on the red subscribe button to get all the latest Fiberflux YouTube updates. Thanks so much for watching.